Missile Guidance System. Missile Guidance System. The story of modern missiles begins with one man, Dr. Robert H. Goddard, an American physicist and inventor who dreamed of reaching extreme altitudes, even space. In the early 1920s, Dr. Goddard experimented with solid propellant rockets. But he soon discovered their limits. They couldn't produce the power or duration needed for a reliable supersonic flight. On March 16, 1926, history was made. Dr. Goddard successfully launched the world's first liquid propellant rocket. It soared to an altitude of 184 feet, about the height of a 12-story building, and reached a speed of 60 miles per hour. Goddard's genius didn't stop there. He was the first to fire a rocket faster than the speed of sound, the first to design gyroscopic steering, and the first to use vanes in the jet stream for stability during flight. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, Europe was beginning its own experiments. On March 14, 1931, Germany launched its first liquid propellant rocket. These weapons, though destructive, represented enormous leaps in rocket technology, paving the way for post-war scientific and space programs. In 1941, the United States began its own missile development project. The Army Air Corps asked the National Defense Research Committee to create a vertical, controllable bomb, marking the start of America's journey into guided missiles. From Goddard's humble tests in a snowy Massachusetts field to the thunderous launches of today's space missions and destructive tests of ballistic missile. Strictly speaking, missiles can be divided into two main categories. 1. Guided missiles, and 2. Unguided missiles. Guided missiles, also called guided munitions or tactical missiles, are designed to be controlled during flight. They use aerodynamic lift, that is, the forces generated by their wings or fins, to change direction and stay on course. In simple terms, an aerodynamic guided missile is a self-propelled vehicle that flies through the atmosphere to strike a designated target, and it can adjust its path along the way. Once launched, a guided missile is usually fired roughly toward its target. But as it travels, it receives steering commands, either from a ground guidance station or from its own onboard guidance system, to improve its accuracy. Guided missiles fall into two broad subtypes. 1. Homing, and 2. Non-homing. Homing missiles actively track their targets. They can be active, meaning the missile sends out its own signals to locate the target. Semi-active, where the target is illuminated by another source and the missile homes in on the reflection. Passive, where the missile simply follows energy given off by the target, such as heat or radio waves. Example: BrahMos, Akash, etc. Non-homing missiles, on the other hand, do not track a target. They follow a preset or programmed course, guided only by internal instruments, such as inertial guidance systems. Unguided missiles, which include most ballistic missiles, do not steer themselves once launched. Instead, they follow a ballistic trajectory, determined only by the natural laws of motion and gravity. Examples include the Honest John and Little John missiles, and many artillery-type rockets used in the field. Because they can't change direction, unguided missiles are usually not a threat to airborne aircraft, but they can deliver powerful payloads over long distances. Pro. V2 rocket components. The guidance system determines where the missile should go. It keeps the missile on its proper flight path, from the moment it leaves the launcher until it reaches the target, using data from control stations, the target itself, or onboard sensors. The control system, meanwhile, determines how the missile stays pointed in the right direction. It keeps the missile's axis aligned with the desired trajectory and ensures the missile is roll stabilized, meaning a fixed plane through its body remains parallel to a stable reference point outside. Without this flight attitude stabilization, even a guided missile would drift off course and fail to respond properly to its guidance signals. In next video, we will discuss missile guidance system in detail.